my skin so gorgeous. We thank the life gorgeous. Thank the life gorgeous. I love the life gorgeous. Its torso is so tight.
Welcome to Life Gorgeous, Craigers. There he is, Johnny Athletic. Jon Krawczynski. This is where I share my magical life in hopes of improving your life. It's called The Life Gorgeous. Jon is a local legend in Minneapolis, but also now a national name. I think we're being honest. He has the Jon Krawczynski podcast, and he writes for The Athletic. And you just wrote a great article. Is it Yoan?
Yoan, yes.
Yoan Beringer.
He doesn't like Joan. Do not Americanize it. He does not like that. So Yoan
Beringer. We're going to talk Timberwolves Summer League. You were there in Vegas, and it seemed like kind of a big exhale. I remember when Kevin McHale became a great pro with the Celtics, better pro than he was college player in Minnesota. So now we're discovering the talent of the 17th pick, 18-year-old Beringer. What was it like there for you in person? And then you texted me and said the coaches are going crazy. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think that, when he's drafted, I'm not a Fran Fraschilla draft guru, especially with the Euros. So I didn't really know a lot about him. And I certainly looked at the videos and tried to imagine what this looked like. And you talk to Tim Connolly and Matt Lloyd and all these guys, and they're really excited about it. You're like, okay, all right, well, but let's just see it. And so from the game one, from the very first possession, he's got 2 block shots right away. And you're like, okay, this is interesting. But then it's just watching Craig, how he moves. It's so fluid.
Yeah.
Like, he's a big dude. He's almost 7 feet tall. He's 235. Like, he's not a Chet Holmgren beanpole guy.
Mm-hmm.
But man, everything looks easy for him from an athletic standpoint.
Yeah.
And so when you watch him run the floor, when you're watching him instinctually come in to block shots, you're looking at a guy and you're saying, this does not look like a player who just picked up the game 4 years ago. This seems to come easier to him. Now, he's got a lot of things that you want to work through and that you want to develop and that. But I get now watching him why the Wolves are so excited. And some people may think, well, of course, Jon, they're excited. They just drafted him in the first round. But you can tell in talking to people what their level of belief is in a guy. And these guys are enamored with the possibilities of Joan Beringer.
Yeah, I think they like his athleticism. He is fluid. And again, we hesitate to criticize Rudy. And Rudy, when he was drafted, was a project. This guy is a project, but there's a fluidity he has that a lot of 7-footers don't have. I do like his build. His legs are not slender. They do say he has good hands. And Finchie was interviewed courtside and said he has impeccable timing. And I think he's talking about going up and blocking shots. And it is, I don't know. I heard a comp. I don't know if you heard any comps. Someone said Tyson Chandler.
Yeah.
Who's a really good defender and was really good on alley-oops. What do you think the ceiling is for him? Or is it too early to tell?
I mean, so I love the Tyson Chandler comp, I think, as a benchmark for him. Listening to people who have been in workouts with him and in practice with him, I think they believe that if everything were to go perfectly, he can step out a little bit more than Chandler could and maybe hit some mid-range shots, do stuff like that. And so I think that the hope is that he will be more than a lob threat, just a lob threat type of a guy. And so, watching him handle the ball a little bit, watching him move, I can see where that goes. Like, I'm hesitant to say, but what you see from the skill set and just the, ball of clay that they believe that he is, ceiling wise, like a Giannis level player of like,
Come on.
I know. It's like
You were afraid to say that.
But that style of play,
right.
of that physicality, defense, being variable from an offensive standpoint and doing more than just dunker spot lob,
right.
dunker spot lob. Now, yeah, I'm not saying he's going to be honest, but it's more of that kind of like almost a pseudo, like a really power forward.
Yeah.
And not just a center that way, I think way far down the road and stuff like that. But I mean, if we're talking ceilings, let's talk ceilings.
Yeah. I remember when KG came in and he was just really springy and quick. But I like that he worked hard on his jump shot. He worked really hard on his jump shot, and as did Ant.
Mm-hmm.
But if this guy works on his jump shot, because I've only seen his free throw and it looks fine. The form looks fine. But it's funny because I'm a basketball fan. I get excited with raw talent, but I also my big criticism of the Wolves is I like basketball players who are you've already seen like the guys, the 7-footers that have skill and can pass and can shoot. Like Chet Holmgren can shoot the lights out.
Mm-hmm.
And I always think I'd love to I want more shooters on the team, but it sure is fun with this guy. So Finchie said courtside a 9 to 10 man rotation next year. However, John, you'd have to go 11 to put Beringer in there because, let's say you start Conley, and I'm going to ask you if he's even going to start next year. But if Conley is still part of the 10-man rotation, which he will be, I assume, and I'm a Mike Conley fan, you've got Nas, Dante, TJ, Jalen Clark, and Rob, and that's 10.
Mm-hmm.
That's the bench. So do you think Beringer is going to play next year?
I don't think so early.
Okay.
I think that with Rudy, Julius, Nas, he will see the same barriers that Luka Garza saw. Like there's not many minutes in the front court that are going to be available. I could see him getting, the garbage time here and there. But I do think like for as excited as everyone is, and I'm in that group, like I don't think it's misguided. I just think that 18-year-old kid coming over from France, I think they're going to try and be slow and gradual with him. That's the way forward, and just easing him into things, having him play in Iowa some, and then in very, kind of unique instances or sporadic instances, throw him out there and let him get 8 minutes in a fourth quarter if things are in hand. What they do believe, Craig, is that if you have an injury to the front court, he could help them right now defensively.
Yeah.
Like he could do enough defensively to not be a liability.
Yeah.
Offensively, I think is in a completely different story. And that will take more time, but I don't expect him to be in the rotation early. I don't expect him to be getting even like 10 or 12 minutes a night. I think it's going to be just every once in a while he gets into play and wet his beak, but just ease into this young man and we'll get you developed the right way.
Why did you text and say the coaches, the Wolves love him? What happened in Vegas?
Well, so yeah, like, doing this will be season 22 coming up for me. And so you have these conversations all the time with coaches about, hey, who do you like? Who do you not like? And,
right.
and I am now to the level where I can tell when the tone of voice changes, when a sparkle gets into their eye, Craigers, and when something is different from, yeah, he's a good player. Yeah, he can help us to, this guy maybe down the road can be special. And so that's kind of some of the discussions I've had, kind of off the record, just conversationally with guys, picking their brains. And, we talk about a bunch of guys and kind of getting a lay of the land. But when I ask them about Yoan, it's kind of this, it's like that. There's this kind of recognition that the possibilities are out there for him to be more than just a rotation level big, which is probably what you hope at 17. Just get somebody who can eventually play a little bit.
Yeah.
And so there's a twinkle in the eye,
Craig,
when these guys talk about the possibilities of what he could eventually become down the road.
I think it's safe to say that his soccer background served him well. I think that's a lot of all footwork, and that's probably why he moves so well on the court. Is that what people are saying?
Yeah, that's one thing. Both Tim Connolly and Joe Connolly, his brother, were telling me that, it's not just that he played soccer, it's that he was a striker. So he was front end, going for goal, doing that kind of thing. And you can just see not only the footwork, but also there's an aggression and an urgency with which he moves. I mean, in that Denver game on Saturday, he didn't have quite the same stat line as he did in his first game, but when it came to winning time, you watched how aggressively he got after rebounds, and he, creating second chances and picked up that level of intensity. I think that helps from, competing in soccer and competing at a high level. And so I do think that, yes, soccer played a huge role in getting him to be able to move his body in a way that most 6'11" dudes cannot move their body.
Never heard the name Joe Conley. That's Mike. That's the brother of Tim.
The brother of Tim Connolly. Yep, they have kind of gone up through the ranks of the NBA scouting world forever and ever. Now Tim rose higher than Joe, but Joe is the ultimate grinder scout guy. I mean, if you see him and you meet him, you look at him and this is like Adam Sandler and Hustle. That's the guy that he is. And so he's the Timberwolves director of scouting, and has a good eye for talent, and he goes all over the world. And so it was, I think, him and Matt Lloyd and Tim Connolly all had sort of pre-existing relationships with Berenger's team in Slovenia. And so they were the ones who called them and said, hey, we got somebody here you might want to start putting some work in on. And so that's all worked out pretty well for them.
Okay, so let's shift to, my pet peeve is turnovers. OKC really exposed or, forced a bunch of turnovers. They're special on defense. They're handsy, etc. And my whole thing was, we need to add some people. I was okay with going for Durant initially at the trade deadline. I said, no, I don't want to build the team that way. But then I said, we got to try to win. I heard Finchy say in the exit interview, he said, when you can win, you got to go for it. So I said, go ahead and go for Durant. I preferred to add somebody, and these are pipe dreams, De'Aaron Fox, because they drafted a point guard, maybe he's available, or Darius Garland. I would take Malcolm Brogdon, who I've always liked as a free agent. But did you hear any rumors of trying to trade for a point guard? Did you hear anything?
Well, I certainly I wouldn't say that I heard any substantial rumors about it. I mean, they had conversations. They tried to look at what was available to them, and they became, pretty understanding early on, even, before the draft, that they did not think that there was going to be some kind of magic bullet guy, a De'Aaron Fox level guy, to be able to acquire. And so I still do expect them to add another point guard. And I think it could be a Malcolm Brogdon. It could be Cam Payne. It could be, someone of that ilk, to add as an insurance level kind of a player. But I when you watch how they've gone about this, Craig, and looked at how they've gone about their roster, all of the moves that they are making are saying that we want Rob Dillingham to have a real shot at this. And when they drafted at 17, there were two really good guards that were available, Walter Clayton Jr. And the Yakashonas from Illinois, as more point guard or combo guard level guys. and they could have taken those guys and really pushed Rob Dillingham or given them another option, or they could have been a little more aggressive in trying to go after a Tyus or somebody like that out there, and they haven't really. And so a lot of that, I think, is just geared toward, we've got to let this kid who we've spent the 8th overall pick on, we've got to give him opportunity, and he's probably going to turn the ball over a bunch, and he's probably going to miss shots at the rim, but we've got to give this guy a real chance to see what he can do. And I don't think they were able to do that last year, and it may be a little dangerous, but they like what he could become as a shot creator, as kind of a dynamic element. And I think a lot of that is geared toward, hey, Rob, go do this. And if it doesn't work out, then we'll pivot. But I think they want to give him a shot first.
So I'd like to add a veteran point guard. I do sometimes think we only have a problem against OKC. You know, it didn't really come up against the Lakers or the Warriors. But I was really high on Rob Dillingham because I wanted to be. I'm always I call holding space, getting excited, and not to be too negative. But after the first summer league game, I texted a friend just out of frustration and said, let's trade Dillingham and Leonard Miller and whoever else we need to get, Peyton Pritchard or somebody like that. Give me TJ McConnell. No. But I hope Rob works out. I like him. I mean, I like the explosiveness and the ball handling. He shot 47%, which is great at Kentucky. He's not a pure shooter. I don't understand. So Craigers is going to just kind of recuse himself. I like Rob. I'll get so excited when he explodes to the rim, but he's not going to be the steadying force that I want. A young Mike Conley type. That's my problem.
Yeah, for sure. And my big concern for him, you know, and that has continued in watching him in summer league, is I don't like how difficult it is for him to finish at the rim. You know, like,
don't get me started. I mean,
one of his great strengths is quickness, break guys down, and then get into the paint. But if you can't do anything with it once you're there, it kind of nullifies things. And so maybe that will come as he just gets more time and figures out the angles and all that stuff. But I think, you know, the shooting is certainly looks to be inconsistent. But my biggest concern is I want to see him finish better around the basket, because if that does not happen, I have a hard time seeing how it works out. I think it could happen. I do, like you, I'm enamored with his game, like his quickness, his ball handling, his shot creation. He's going to create good looks for himself and others, but he's got to be able to then take advantage of those, especially at the basket. And these are summer league guys that you're going against, and I know they have size and stuff, but like, it's going to be a whole different animal when you're, you know, driving into the paint and Giannis is there, or someone else, you know, someone else is there. And so for him, a smaller, undersized guy, to be able to figure that part of it out, I think that's the whole key to it. If he doesn't, it's going to be a quick exit. But if he does, then I'm intrigued, because he can do things that most of the other guys on the roster cannot do. And that would be a big help to Ant in the long haul.
Yeah. Does Mike Conley start next year?
You know, I don't know, Craig. I think it would make sense to me that Dante DiVincenzo would start, and that Conley would come off the bench. And I think they're going to be even more deliberate about monitoring his minutes and kind of managing things. And I think we can go back to, if you remember, right before DiVincenzo got hurt, he started 5 games in a row, and they really started to play well. And I do think that Dante, even if he is not a natural one, I think he likes being in the starting lineup. I think he likes that status. And so that could help bring out even more in his game. And I think it's at least worth exploring. But it's entirely possible that either that doesn't work or Rob Dillingham isn't ready, and Finchie goes to the security blanket that Conley represents, and they go forward with it. But it's hard for me to see how starting Conley long term is the play. I mean, maybe he starts the first month and just stabilizes things or something like that, but they kind of need more pop in that position. And so that means that DiVincenzo would have to be careful with the turnovers, that he'd have to do a good job running the offense, that Dillingham would have to do that. But I think that there's going to be other options that they explore at least before they go back to Uncle Mike and just settling in there.
I'm a big Dante fan. He's not a true point guard, and he turns it over. And I think I might be bothered by live ball turnovers more than anybody in the Timberwolves organization. I think they don't accept them, but they're saying, well, these guys are talented and they're trying and blah, 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 blah. I want Chris Paul. I want Stockton. I want Ricky, but I doubt we're going to get that. But who knows? I hope we get a point guard. And I'm pulling for Rob, but I kind of know even at his best what kind of point guard he's going to be. But such is life. What do the coaches? What do they think of Rocco? Is it Sikorsky?
Yeah, I think they look at him as much more of a project even than Beringer. But I mean, he is enormous. Yeah. Like you 7'3", like all of that. When I stand right next to him and then you see him on the court, he's just bigger than everyone. Yeah. And so I think that there's intrigue in the size. He does move, pretty well for that size. Yeah. I think he's a little heavy-footed, but that's to be expected.
Yeah, on defense, it looks like if his man gets the ball in the paint, he'll just get around him kind of quickly.
Right. Now, and I think we've seen him be able to kind of recover and use the long arms to still affect shots. I don't know if it's going to be that easy in the NBA level, but I would expect that he's going to be a guy that plays all next year in Iowa for sure. Yeah. And they look at, hey, let's just take a flyer on the size and just see if eventually he can develop a little bit more. But it's a second-round pick, and it's a late second-round pick at that. So right when you're picking there, you're looking for, is there one aspect that can say, yeah, that might be able to play in the NBA? Is it perimeter defense with Jalen Clark? Is it, is it shot creation? Is it just a catch and shoot three? Or is it, in Sikorsky's case, it's pure size. So that's what they're kind of betting on. And they'll see if they can develop that into something more and into some type of a rotation level big.
Why the obsession with 7-footers?
Well, I mean, Rudy's getting older, and we have seen over the last couple of years now, size is coming back into vogue. I mean, we had the small ball revolution for a really long time, but I think that we're seeing teams try to get bigger, but with skilled bigs, of course, and really control things defensively, shut out the paint entirely and change games into like a 3-point shot variance type of an outcome. And so they have seen what Rudy has done for them the last 2 years and like really vaulting them into contention with his rim protection and all of that. And I mean, you look at, teams around the league and the bigger teams are starting to have a little more success. And the Wolves kind of started that with Cat Rudy and how that worked out. And now they're Cat Julius they're Rudy Julius and you bring in Beringer, I think there's a real kind of push back to let's get big dudes in that you cannot score at the rim on them and take that part of it away.
So I've always been a Malcolm Brogdon fan because he shoots a high percentage, by the way. Handles the ball well. I would get him. I don't know how hard they're thinking about it. But I remember, was that guy's name Ramon Sessions? Was that guy's name?
Ramon Sessions, yeah.
I liked him as a passer. Now, he played for us, but he was just okay with us. But I thought he'd be better. But he played well with Milwaukee for a while. Remember that guy?
Yeah, for sure. Yep. There was like a little 3-year stretch where David Kahn brought in a new point guard every year for like 3 years and 4 years and $16 million, like signed the same exact. It was like Luke Ridnour, it was Sessions. There's one other guy, but I liked Rahman as well. Like I thought that serviceable backup point guard, run the show, organize the offense, get your own shot when you can get it. He just played on bad teams. Like I don't think that helped him. I like Brogdon, the comp for Sessions, or for remember, I mean, Andre Miller came in late in his career, and so, is he Andre Miller in his prime? No, but I think he is that type of, let me quarterback things. I understand how to get the offense going and organize it, and I can make an open shot when it's created for me, or when the opportunity presents itself. And you and I both love Mike Conley to death. The one thing that I think hurt them in the OKC series was that he just was not able to provide enough offense. Mm-hmm. Just on his own, the floater kind of abandoned him. The 3-point shot, he just wasn't able to be as much of a threat. Brogdon, I think, he's had trouble staying healthy in his career, but he could be a bit of a threat there. How much gas does he have left in the tank? I'm not sure, but when you look at all the available options out there, I mean, he's right at the top of the list, I think, of veteran dudes you could bring in and say, all right, if something goes wrong, or if we need a guy for a couple of weeks, he can slot in and help the team.
You mentioned Karl Anthony Towns. You and I are Cat fans.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, first of all, I thought he had a great year, third team All-NBA. Made the adjustments. They didn't even give him the ball, is my contention. They didn't run enough plays for him. But in the playoffs, his fourth quarter at Detroit, 2 3-pointers, fall away jumper that he doesn't do on the right baseline. And then the rally cat, the New York Post rally cat, when he had 20 at Indiana. I don't think I've ever seen him play that well in the playoffs. I don't think I've seen him. He's never had 2 fourth quarters that great in the playoffs. Of course, he gets so much criticism because of his, sometimes his lack of defense or his silly fouls. But Cat played pretty well. What did you think of his playoffs with the Knicks?
It feels weird, but I'd say I was proud of him. I thought he played well. And I thought that, yes, he had defensive breakdowns every once in a while. There were certainly faults in his game, but I just don't see, Craig, any other player who can reach the level that he does offensively, criticized to that level.
I know, it's hilarious
for small mistakes. I mean, every mistake of his seems to be the worst thing in the world and completely blown up. But then every virtue is discounted or dismissed.
That's what I want to know, is when he's going off, what do people say? Oh, okay. Do they ignore it? Now, I do say, because I'm a nice human being and I'm level-headed, that I'm okay trading Cat, fine.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Now, I quit kicking sand in his face. But man, when he starts lighting it up, the talent level, the left-hand jump hook, and how about that 20-point fourth quarter in Indiana? I was going crazy. The Statue of Liberty dunk down the lane where he got fouled. When he's on, it is ridiculous. And it's kind of refreshing for me now. I don't have to hear, I still hear people complain, but he's on the Knicks, good team. And these people in New York get to see this skill level that no one else really has.
It's been great. And the thing that bothered me was you could see when things were not going right for the Knicks, or, when they lost to the Pacers, he took the brunt of the blame for some reason. But I will go to my grave saying he was the best player in that series for them. He was the most consistent, and he reached the highest highs. Now, Brunson is a great player, but why don't we talk about Brunson getting just hunted defensively he does? And why don't we talk about the way that Brunson just dribbles the air out of the ball on offense and then jacks up a shot and things like that. And that's fine. If you don't want to nitpick that way, that's okay. But don't do it to the guy who's actually playing incredibly well and giving you, a higher end and more consistent performance offensively. And so I hope that continues and that a recognition happens about how special he is offensively and what he can do that very few, if any, other players in this league can do. And it just seems like even in New York, there's this kind of undercurrent of, well, is he tough enough, or does he do this, or does he do that? And I mean, it's just like, how about you just like appreciate that he is the most talented player on your team, and maybe actually run some things for him a little bit more.
I wish they would.
That would be
great. I've accepted he's polarizing, his quirky personality, and then of course his silly reaches on defense. Yeah. And he's in the big market now. And I was concerned when he traded there. I go, oh boy, they might eat him alive. Mm-hmm. But I think he cut down on his whining and complaining to the refs. And I think he brought his A game. I think it helps his game to play there. But we're Cat fans, and I'm happy for him. And I like to say it says more about the people criticizing him than that does about Cat when they criticize him. New ownership. Will Glenn and Becky still be sitting courtside?
They haven't said yet, and I'm not closing the door on that entirely. I do think that both sides, now that the war has been won and lost, are trying to rectify and just have a better end to it going forward. I think there are still some really hard feelings. You talked to Mark Laurie and Alex Rodriguez this last weekend in Las Vegas, and they made it clear that they are still, kind of upset about how it all went down. But I do think that there is a possibility that those two still do sit there at the end of the day in terms of trying to make a gesture to be like, let's put this all behind us. Like, let's not have, any kind of, just ugliness anymore. We've been through the messy part of it. Let's see. But I think that still remains to be seen how all that plays out, because there's still some pretty bitter feelings on both sides, I think, right now.
A couple ideas from Craigers to thaw the relationship. Becky's lasagna at Charlie Swanson's Lexus Club, and maybe in the VIP lounge of the owner's lounge. Becky's lasagna.
I'd be figuring out a way to get in there every chance I get.
Have you had it before?
I've never had it. No, yeah. For all the years that I was here and we have a good relationship, I never got that invite. So maybe in retirement they will bring that to me, but I got to figure something out. I love the idea.
Okay, we have the Jump app, the new Jump app. Yeah. Have you heard about it? You want me to explain it to you, or do you understand how it works?
Why don't you explain it to the listeners, and then I will certainly chime in on it.
This is a Mark Laurie A-Rod creation, and my understanding is if you're sitting up in the upper deck, upper whatever it's called, you can fourth quarter somebody leaves, and then you can buy their auction off their ticket. I'll pay $50 for the sit up there. Is that how it works?
That's how it works. Yeah. Like that's just one facet of it, is that, in a game, in a blowout, whatever, you're sitting up in the nosebleeds, or maybe even you're sitting at the top of the lower deck, not somewhere you would never be caught dead, Craigers. But, and you see some open seats down low. You can check on your app, and people can check out if they're leaving. And then it becomes up for auction. You bid $5, you bid $12, whatever. Right. You can move down and really experience the beautiful people seats. And so that's kind of cool. And, I think it's going to replace the Wolves app. Now the Wolves app isn't going away. It's still going to be the Timberwolves app, but then it's just going to be driven by this Jump kind of engine. Right. And you're going to be that. You can buy merchandise, you can buy food, like everything that you do in the arena is going to run through there. And it seems like it's interesting to be able to do that stuff.
Okay, here's what I'm going to do.
Okay.
I sit courtside, Charlie Swanson seats. Mm-hmm. I want to make some money. I'll move back 20 rows.
You can
Somebody
do it.
Leaves 20 rows back. They pay me $40.
Mm-hmm.
Is that how the Jump app? That's how it should work.
That is how it should work. But it's a great question. I don't know who gets that cut of the money. Does it go to the person who held the seats, or does it go to the team? It probably goes to the team, but You should just
I want
stand
to
up.
get paid for moving back.
Just stand up in the middle of the game, look backwards, throw your tickets in the air and say, come get them. And then just have them just shower you with cash and see what happens.
Well, I could do that. I could make money on the court side. I was saying if I keep my seats, but I just want to sit back, but I was trying to pull a fast one and have the jump app explode is what I was trying to do. Quickly, a couple more things. I know we're both busy. Happy summer, by the way. How did you go to St. Paul yesterday?
We did not go to St. Paul yesterday. No, we had just a little. We're homebodies with the wifey, so had a little pizza and with the kids and celebrated her birthday. But I'll see if I can make it over there. But now that Vegas is done and this is truly summer now. I'm done with Vegas. I'm done with the draft. I'm done with free agency for the most part. So we can unwind a little bit. And
okay. You deserve it. You're working hard. Downtown Arena. I know it's a few years off, but I'm sure they're thinking about it. I've read some things about the locations, and I always thought they might do it at the Target Center location. And then I just heard of a location because I don't know Minneapolis as well as you do. The City Center location. Of the 5 that I heard, those were the 2 that excited me. What do you know about the location of the potentially of the new arena?
Yeah, so they've been very lacking in specifics on that so far, but I do believe you're right. In terms of those I don't think the Target Center, I will say this, I don't think Target Center is a viable location for a new arena because Target Center is so small and the footprint is so small.
That's what I heard. Yeah.
That you just need much more real estate to be able to do it the right way. And so City Center is promising. City Center is right across the street from Target Center, and a lot of the business, the business real estate is abandoned. Now there's just not as many companies downtown, post COVID and all of that. And so I do think that there is more of an opportunity to acquire that space for a relative pittance. And so that would make sense to me, as being able to have a 2 or 3 block radius to build an arena and put up new hotels and kind of all of the things that these modern stadium villages have become. I've also heard the possibilities of kind of more International Market Square, which is sort of by the Target Field. And so do you sort of do something that's maybe melds Target Field and a new Target Center together in a different way and connects that way? I think that's a possibility. I actually also think, Craig, that they're at least looking at suburban spots, and if there's like a vast plot that they can do too. But I think the preference is to stay downtown. I hope that's what they do. I think it's so important to the city. So we'll see, but I do think they're a little ways away from announcing some sort of real plan on what they're going to make happen.
Another idea from Craigers. What about playing a couple home games a year in St. Paul at XL, soon to be named the Grand Casino Arena? What do you think of that?
Like Green Bay and Milwaukee back in the day, right? The Packers would go
Kansas
to
City, Omaha
sometimes.
Kings with Nate Archibald. They'd go play a couple games in Omaha.
Yeah, you know me. Once that river hits and I got to get over to the other side, that's really difficult for me. So I'm going to say let's stay in the city that never sleeps and not the city that's always sleeping.
That's funny. Finally, John, I'm going to leave you with this gem. A request from me. First loss of the Wolves season coming up this year. The first loss, it might be game 2, might be game 3. We don't know. Can you in the post game say, Coach, is this a microcosm of the season?
I feel like I have to go back to it, right? Like I've got to lay it on him one more time and see how he does. But with Vinci, you got to pick your spots because it can get a little hot in there sometimes. So I'll be delicate with it, but I might have to give it a shot.
Oh, that's hilarious. Thank you, John. Always a joy.
Always a good time to be in the Life Gorgeous, Gregors. Thanks very much.
And Johnny Roast Beef says hi to you. He always says, "When's Johnny Athletic coming back?"
I can't wait. I can't wait for I'm going to. That's when the schedule comes out. When they're back in LA, that'll be circled, and I will be right there with you.
I'm having dinner there again. I just had dinner there, but I'm having it again. It's kind of my spot when people want to hang. The Sklar brothers this week will be joining me at Rayo's. they said, let's have dinner sometime. So I'm going to do that.
They
You're
were
very
recently-
funny
they-
people.
Yeah, they were recently in town. I don't know, like in the last 6 months or so. They had a couple of shows. I think at Acme Comedy Club or
Yeah.
something like that. So yeah.
They hang out and they do shows in Minneapolis, and they I think their daughter goes to Michigan or something. They go to Wolverine football games
With A-Rod's daughter.
Oh, cool.
Mhm.
And Mike Gibbons, who you don't know, my friend Gibby, his daughter. He was the head writer for our show. Thank you, John. We'll see you next time.
All right, thanks, Craig.
That's our show. Remember, young people, I'm proud of you.